All right, let's talk about Agile. I mean, you've heard this word everywhere, right? It's in every job description, every meeting, but what does it actually mean? Today, we're going to cut through all that noise, go beyond the buzzwords, and really get to the heart of what this is all about. So let me ask you something, and be honest. Have you ever been stuck on a project that just felt like it was crawling through mud? You know the one. It goes way over budget, takes forever, and then, the real kicker, you finally launch it and it's not even what people wanted. Yeah, that feeling, that's the exact problem Agile was created to fix. You see, to really get this, you have to realize that not all work is created equal. On one side, you've got what we call definable work. Think of a factory assembly line. It's predictable, it's repeatable, you know exactly what you're doing. But today, so much of our work, especially creative or tech work, is high uncertainty work. It's exploratory, you're navigating the unknown, and things are changing all the time. And that's exactly where the old school assembly line methods just fall apart. For that complex, uncertain work, you don't need a bigger, more detailed instruction manual. Nope. You need a completely new way of thinking. You need what's called an agile mindset. So what on earth is an agile mindset? Well, it's not a tool you can buy or a process you can just install. It's more like a philosophy. It starts with a foundation of core values. Those values then inform a set of guiding principles. And then, those principles are brought to life through different day-to-day practices. It all flows from those values. And here they are, the 4 core values that started this whole movement. Let's look at these. We're valuing individuals and interactions over processes and tools. We're valuing a working product over comprehensive documentation. We care more about customer collaboration than contract negotiation. And this one's huge. We value responding to change over following a rigid plan. Now, this is so important to understand. That little word over causes a lot of confusion. It doesn't mean we're just throwing plans and documentation and contracts in the trash. Of course not. Those things are still valuable. It's just a shift in emphasis. We're saying that in a complex world, we simply value the things on the left more. It's about priorities. Okay, so how do you put this into practice? Well, the good news is it's not some kind of light switch you have to flip from off to on. It's much more of a spectrum. It's all about choosing the right approach, the right project lifecycle for the job you're actually doing. So think about it like this. On one end of that spectrum, you've got the traditional, predictive way. Everything is defined up front, you do one big delivery at the very end, and your main job is to control costs. On the far other end, you have Agile. Here, requirements can change, you deliver value in small, frequent chunks, and your number one focus is making the customer happy. And getting from one end to the other isn't just one giant leap. There's a whole continuum of options in between. You can move from predictive to something called iterative, then to incremental, and finally, all the way to agile. Let's break down what each of these steps really means. First up, we have that classic predictive life cycle. You might have heard it called the waterfall model. Think about building a skyscraper. You have to have the entire blueprint perfect before you lay the first piece of steel, right? You plan everything up front, then you execute that plan step by step in one long sequence. Okay, now an iterative approach is different. The main goal here is to learn and refine. It's kind of like a painter creating a masterpiece. They sketch a rough outline, step back, look at it, and then add more detail. They repeat that loop, that iteration, over and over, using feedback to perfect the work until it's just right. Then you have the incremental life cycle. This is all about delivering real value to the customer as soon as possible. So instead of building an entire software platform all at once, you build and release one single, usable feature first. The customer gets something they can use right away, while you start working on the next piece, the next increment. And finally, we get to the agile life cycle. This is where the real magic happens, because it combines both of the last two. It's iterative and incremental. The perfect example is building a new app. You release a small, simple but working version, that's the incremental part. Then you get feedback from real users and use it to improve and add features in the next release. That's the iterative loop. You're constantly shipping value and learning as you go. So, what's the big takeaway from all this? It's that there is no one-size-fits-all solution. The whole point is to be smart about it and pick an approach that is fit for purpose, one that actually matches the level of uncertainty and complexity of the project you're facing. All right, we've talked mindset, we've talked methods. But what does this actually look and feel like for the people on the team? Let's dive into how agile teams work and remember that first value, people over process. One of the biggest shifts is in leadership. Forget the old school top-down manager who tells everyone what to do. Agile teams are guided by a servant leader. This person's job isn't to command and control, their job is to serve the team. They're a coach, a facilitator, and their primary goal is to remove any roadblocks so the team can do their absolute best work. And you see this philosophy come to life in a few really common, tangible practices. You've got retrospectives, which are regular meetings where the team just stops and asks, how can we work better together? You've got daily stand-ups, these quick little huddles to make sure everyone's in sync. And you have demos or reviews, where the team shows off what they've actually built to get immediate real-world feedback. Now, all of this probably sounds pretty good, right? But making it happen is tough. And the number one biggest, hardest challenge isn't learning a new piece of software or remembering the steps in a meeting. It's the fact that, at its core, Agile demands a massive culture shift. You know, the legendary management guru Peter Drucker famously said, "Culture eats strategy for breakfast." And there is no place where that is more true than with Agile. You can have the perfect plan, the best tools, but if your company culture isn't ready for it, it will fail. Every single time. So why is it such a huge challenge? Well, because Agile goes right to the heart of how most companies are built. It challenges those rigid hierarchies. It forces different departments that never talk to each other to actually collaborate. It even makes us completely rethink what success looks like and how we measure it. And that brings us to the most important point of all. After everything we've talked about, it can be really tempting to think that the goal is just to become agile. But that's not it. That's missing the entire point. The real goal, the true North Star of all of this, is to create a continuous flow of value for your customers. That's it. It's about making them happier, solving their problems better, and by doing that, achieving better results for the business. Agile isn't the destination, it's just a really powerful car to help you get there. So, to wrap this all up, I want to leave you with a question. Forget about big corporate transformations for a second. Just think about your own work, your own team. What's one small, tiny Agile experiment you could try, maybe even tomorrow?